For 40 years, Glenn English has stood as a fierce and outspoken champion of the cooperative business model. Glenn and Marcella English raised Glenn and his sister Mary Jane in the rural town of Cordell, Oklahoma. He spent time fishing with his dad at Rocky Lake and loved to ride the combine during the harvest on his grandparents' farm. Today, he enjoys some of his free time with his 4 children and 7 grandchildren. Glenn was a good student, which worked out well for him since his mother was his 5th grade teacher. He was also an adventurous and athletic child who loved to be outdoors, ride horses, and play football. Glenn's interest in politics began while he was in junior high school. He worked on campaigns in and around his hometown of Cordell. Glenn graduated from Southwestern Oklahoma State University in 1964. Over the next several years, his interest in politics would take him from a senior congressional staff member to the staff of the Majority Caucus of the California State Assembly, and then back home, where he was selected to be the executive director of the Oklahoma Democratic Party in 1969. In 1970, Glenn married Jan Pangl. Together, they worked through 10 successful congressional elections and Glenn's continuing leadership of the nation's electric cooperatives. In 1974, Glenn was elected to the 94th Congress, representing the western Oklahoma area he grew up in. As a congressman, he kept rural values at the forefront. Understanding the concerns of his constituents and working hard as their advocate, he consistently promoted the cooperative business model as a way to meet many of their needs. Glenn served on the House Agriculture Committee. As chairman of the Subcommittee on Conservation, Credit, and Rural Development, he spearheaded policies and legislation that strengthened the quality of life in rural communities. He advanced rural electrification and the expansion of telecommunications technology to the countryside. He also supported the creation of programs that have provided hundreds of millions of dollars to develop cooperatives and create and retain jobs in rural communities. Against impossible odds, he overcame several White House attempts to eliminate the Federal Rural Electrification Administration altogether in the 1980s. During his last term in office, he pursued an aggressive legislative agenda to revitalize the economy of America's rural communities, leading the way to passage of the most sweeping positive changes to electric cooperative financing programs in the last 20 years. Without question, he is a true champion of the co-op model. Glenn retired from Congress in 1994 and became the Chief Executive Officer of NRECA. He brought with him not only his personal commitment to co-ops, but also a firm understanding of electric co-op history and the legislative challenges ahead. Over the years, he has defended electric cooperatives time and again, repeatedly galvanizing the entire co-op sector whenever an attack took place. Glenn's unique ability to boil down complicated issues into plain English that mobilizes consumer action has, time and time again, made this unity possible. Glenn's focus on advocacy, fairness, and affordability guided electric cooperatives to victory each time. In an early victory at NRECA, his leadership helped defeat an attempted sale of the Power Marketing Administrations, preserving a long-standing and successful public-private partnership and crucial electricity supply for consumer-owned power. He also fought to ensure that a consumer voice was at the table in 1996 when the Congress began its decade-long work on new energy policy. Under his leadership, NRECA also worked to create an entirely new funding vehicle for rural economic development, spurring job creation and economic development. Harkening back to his early days on the campaign trail, his focus on the importance of political involvement led to a significant expansion of NRECA's acre program. more than doubling membership in the Political Action Committee and opening it up to consumer participation. Glen's leadership further helped to greatly expand electric cooperative communications efforts, including development of the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives branding program that have raised consumer awareness of and cemented consumer loyalty to electric cooperatives at a critical time in their history. In addition, his emphasis on the cooperative difference, on education, transparency, and governance is preparing a new generation of cooperative leaders for a future full of opportunity and challenge. Glen's fortitude, perseverance, leadership abilities, and unwavering loyalty to improving lives for consumers through cooperation, whether in small town and rural America, fast-growing suburbs, or urban areas, is unparalleled. For this, we honor Glen English with induction into the Cooperative Hall of Fame.